What if the universe were trying to communicate with you right now? Not through grand events or dramatic revelations, but through small signs, whispers of the soul that often go unnoticed in the rush of daily life. Let me share something with you. Last week, I received a message from a follower of the channel, Marina. She told me she was about to accept a job offer when she felt an inexplicable uneasiness in her chest. Something inside her said, "This isn't the right time." Against all logical reasoning, she decided to trust that feeling. 2 weeks later, she found out that the company was about to undergo a massive restructuring, resulting in dozens of layoffs. This isn't just a story about intuition. It's a living example of how the universe works in our favor, sending subtle signals that can completely change the course of our lives. The question is, how many of these messages are we missing every day? We live in a reality far deeper and more interconnected than what our eyes can perceive. Quantum physics has already shown that there are dimensions beyond our immediate perception, and ancient wisdom has always spoken of the invisible web that connects all things. But here's the crucial point. These signs are not a privilege of special people or those with extraordinary powers. They are available to all of us. What we lack is the sensitivity to recognize them and the courage to trust them. In this video, I'm going to share with you knowledge that I've been studying and experiencing for years. How to identify and interpret the spiritual messages that the universe is constantly sending into your life. This isn't about vague mysticism or superstition, but a deep understanding of how our consciousness connects with universal intelligence. What you'll discover here can completely transform the way you navigate life, make decisions, and connect with your own spiritual essence. And most importantly, you'll learn to trust your own inner wisdom. And to begin understanding how this communication works, we first need to grasp the foundations of this universal language that connects our spirit with the most subtle dimensions of existence. Foundations of spiritual communication. Imagine reality as an infinite web of energetic connections. Every thought, every emotion, every decision we make ripples through this web, creating waves that extend far beyond what we can perceive with our five senses. Spiritual communication happens precisely in this subtle field. It's as if there were a specific frequency, like a cosmic radio, constantly tuned to our deepest essence. And just like a radio, we need to be on the right frequency to receive the signal clearly. But what exactly are these spiritual signs? Unlike what many people think, they rarely appear as grand mystical events or supernatural experiences. In reality, they are much more subtle and personal. A sudden shiver when you're about to make an important decision, that unexplainable feeling that you should call someone specific, a vivid dream that seems to carry a message, or even a seemingly random encounter that completely changes the course of your day. Modern science is beginning to understand something that spiritual traditions have known for millennia. Our consciousness is far more vast and connected than we realize. Neuroscience studies show that our brain processes far more information than we are consciously aware of, and much of our decision-making happens on a subconscious level before we even become aware of it. What we call intuition, therefore, is not something mystical or supernatural. It is a natural human ability. It is our direct connection to universal wisdom, that part of us that knows, even when our rational mind hasn't yet understood. Spiritual messages can manifest in many ways, through physical sensations in the body, as sudden insights, in recurring patterns in our lives, through meaningful encounters in the form of symbols and signs in nature. Each person has their own spiritual language, a unique way of receiving and interpreting these messages. It's as if each of us has a distinct energetic signature, and the universe communicates with us according to this particular frequency. The interesting thing is that the more aware we become of these messages, the clearer and more frequent they become. It's like developing a muscle. The more we exercise our intuitive perception, the stronger it gets. But there's a fundamental aspect that must be understood. These messages never come to harm us or create fear. True spiritual communication always carries an energy of love, wisdom, and growth. Even when it warns us about something, it does so in a constructive and guiding way. It's also important to understand that this communication is not one way. We are not just passive receivers of spiritual messages. We are active participants in this cosmic dialogue. Our intentions, thoughts, and energetic state directly influence the quality and clarity of these messages. Now that we understand the foundations of spiritual communication, let's explore the 7 main signs through which the universe tries to communicate with us. And you'll realize that many of them are already happening in your life. You just may not have been paying close enough attention. The 7 main intuitive signs. Have you ever noticed how some signs seem to scream for our attention, while others are so subtle they easily go unnoticed? Let's explore the 7 main intuitive signs the universe uses to communicate with us. Unexplained physical sensations. Your body is an incredibly sensitive receiver of spiritual information. That butterflies in the stomach feeling before an important decision isn't just anxiety. It could be your inner wisdom guiding you. A tightness in your chest when you're about to do something may be a sign of protection. Sudden chills, especially when thinking about something specific, often carry important messages. Recurring dreams. Dreams are direct portals to our expanded consciousness. When a dream repeats itself, it's as if the universe is underlining an important message. It's not just prophetic dreams that matter. Sometimes a recurring symbol or a lingering feeling after waking up can be just as significant. Pay special attention to dreams that leave a lasting impression or feel strangely real. Synchronicities and coincidences. Carl Jung called synchronicities meaningful coincidences. It's when you think of someone and they call you moments later, or when you keep seeing the same number, word, or symbol in different contexts. These aren't just random events. They are signs that you are aligned with the universal flow. Repetitive thoughts. When an idea or thought keeps returning to your mind, even when you try to ignore it, it could be an important message. This is different from obsessive worrying. These thoughts usually come with a sense of clarity or positive urgency. They are like gentle yet persistent reminders from the universe, signs from nature. Nature is one of the purest forms of divine communication. A bird landing near you at a significant moment, a butterfly persistently crossing your path, or even sudden weather changes can carry messages. Ancient spiritual traditions have always recognized nature as a living oracle, numbers and patterns. Certain numbers start appearing everywhere, on license plates, clocks, phone numbers. Each number carries a specific vibration and message. The universe often uses this mathematical language to send us directions and confirmations. It's like a personal code between you and universal intelligence. Energetic sensations. These are moments when you feel a presence, sense a shift in the energy of a place, or experience an unexplainable connection with someone or something. It could be a deep sense of peace in a particular location, or an uneasy feeling without a clear reason. These subtle perceptions are like spiritual antennas picking up information beyond the physical realm. The most fascinating thing about these signs is that they often work together, reinforcing each other. For instance, you might have a meaningful dream, and the next day encounter multiple signs in nature confirming its message. Or you may feel a strong physical intuition, followed by a series of synchronicities. The key to interpreting these signs lies in paying close attention and developing trust in your inner perception. It's not about searching for hidden meanings in every little event, but about cultivating a natural sensitivity to recognize when something carries a deeper message. It's also important to note that these signs tend to intensify during crucial moments in our lives, times of decision-making, transformation, or spiritual growth. It's as if the universe amplifies its messages when we need guidance the most. But if these signs are so important and always present, why does it sometimes feel so difficult to notice them? Why do some people seem naturally attuned to this universal language, while others struggle to recognize even the most obvious signs? The answer lies in the blockages and interferences we accumulate throughout our journey. Blockages and interferences. The truth is, we are all born with this natural ability for spiritual connection. It's like an internal radio that's always on. However, throughout life, we accumulate layers of interference that make it harder to receive these subtle signals. The first and perhaps most significant blockage is excessive rationalization. Our society has trained us to seek logical explanations for everything. dismissing any experience that doesn't fit neatly into a rational framework. When we feel something intuitively, our mind immediately jumps in. This doesn't make sense. It's just a coincidence. I must be imagining things. Fear is another powerful blockage. Fear of the unknown. Fear of trusting something we can't see or touch. Fear of seeming crazy or too mystical. This fear creates an energetic barrier that prevents spiritual messages from flowing freely. Limiting beliefs also play a crucial role in this process. Maybe you grew up hearing that intuition isn't reliable, or that only special people can receive spiritual guidance. These beliefs act as filters, blocking your natural ability to perceive. Constant mental noise is another major interference. We live in an era of information overload, always connected, always processing thousands of stimuli. In this mental whirlwind, the whispers of the soul easily get lost. It's like trying to hear a soft melody in the middle of a loud party. There's also what I call spiritual impatience, the anxiety for immediate answers and grand signs. This expectation causes us to overlook the small, everyday signals, which are often the most meaningful. It's like searching for treasure while expecting to find a chest of gold, when in reality it's scattered in small coins along the way. Unprocessed emotional blockages can also create interference. Old wounds, resentments, guilt, these dense emotions act like clouds that obscure our intuitive clarity. It's difficult to hear the voice of wisdom when we're stuck in limiting emotional patterns. Spiritual perfectionism is another common obstacle. The idea that we need to be completely purified or elevated to receive spiritual guidance. This prevents us from accepting the messages that are already available here and now. But the good news is that all of these blockages can be dissolved. Just as we learn to create these barriers, we can also learn to remove them, restoring our natural connection to universal wisdom. And that's exactly what we're about to explore. How to develop and refine our spiritual sensitivity in a practical and effective way. How to develop your sensitivity. Developing your spiritual sensitivity is like tuning a musical instrument. It requires practice, patience, and constant refinement. I'm going to share with you practices I've used for years that have transformed the lives of thousands of people who follow our work. The first and most fundamental practice is conscious silence. Set aside 10 minutes a day, preferably in the morning, to simply be in silence. You don't need to meditate formally, just sit quietly and observe. Observe your thoughts, your bodily sensations, and the subtle details of your surroundings. This moment of stillness creates space for spiritual messages to be perceived more clearly. The second practice is what I call the signs journal. Keep a notebook where you record all your intuitions, significant dreams, and synchronicities. Over time, you'll start noticing patterns and connections that previously went unnoticed. This record also strengthens your trust in spiritual guidance, as you'll have concrete evidence of how signs manifest in your life. A third essential practice is the intuitive pause. Before making important decisions, stop for a moment and take 3 deep breaths. During these breaths, pay attention to the sensations in your body. Your body has a natural wisdom that often knows the right direction before your rational mind does. The practice of gratitude also amplifies our spiritual receptivity. When we express gratitude, even for small things, we raise our vibrational frequency and become more attuned to the universe's subtle messages. Every night before bed, acknowledge 3 moments of guidance or protection you received that day. Another powerful tool is what I call natural contemplation. Spend a few minutes each day observing nature. It could be the sky, a plant, or even the sunlight streaming through a window. Nature operates in perfect harmony with universal intelligence, and by observing it attentively, we align ourselves with that same frequency. The practice of detachment is equally important. Often, we block signs because we're too attached to a specific outcome. Learn to release your expectations and trust that the universe may have better plans than the ones you imagined. Finally, but no less important, cultivate the practice of presence. The more present we are in the moment, the more attuned we become to subtle signs. Avoid living on autopilot. Bring your attention back to the here and now multiple times throughout the day. When incorporated into your daily life, these practices create an increasingly clear channel of communication with your inner wisdom and universal intelligence. And now that we've reached the end of this journey, I want to share some final reflections on how to integrate all this knowledge into your everyday life. Everything we've shared today is not just theory. It's an invitation to a new way of living, one that is more connected and aware. Spiritual signs are like an inner compass, always pointing toward our true north, guiding us through life's challenges and celebrating with us in our most meaningful achievements. When we start paying attention to these signs, our lives take on a new level of meaning. That random encounter turns out to be a divine opportunity. The delay that seemed like an inconvenience reveals itself as protection. The dream that wouldn't leave your mind transforms into valuable guidance for an important decision. Remember, you don't need to become a different person or abandon your current life to develop this connection. Spiritual wisdom doesn't take us away from the world. It helps us navigate it with greater clarity and purpose. In fact, the more in tune we are with our intuition, the more effective we become in all areas of life. Start today. Choose one practice that resonated with you the most and integrate it into your routine. It could be a moment of silence in the morning, keeping a signs journal, or simply taking a conscious pause before making important decisions. What matters is taking that first step. And don't worry about getting everything right. Your spiritual journey is unique, and the signs will manifest in ways that are personal to you. Trust the process and allow yourself to learn from each experience. Mistakes and doubts are also part of the path. They teach us how to refine our perception. If this content spoke to your heart, share your experience in the comments. How do you perceive signs in your life? Which practice do you plan to start today? Your story could inspire others who are just beginning this journey. Remember, the universe is always communicating with us. The question isn't whether signs exist, it's whether we are ready to notice them and honor them in our lives. Every day is a new opportunity to strengthen this sacred connection with our spiritual essence.